Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So this one's going to be like a continuation of the video I posted during Comic-Con for the second trailer of Thor Ragnarok, where I mentioned Beta Ray Bill on the totem pole for the palace for the Grand Master, which is also located right next to the Gladiators arena. And I put a link up for you guys to see that and all the other stuff that kind of stuck out in that second trailer for Thor Ragnarok. Okay, now, so not too long after that video post, Sunday night and Monday morning, I had a ton of people asking me who are the other 5 heads out of those 6, technically 7, who are also on the totem pole, whether above or below Beta Ray Bill. So in this video, I want to talk about a couple of the heads that are recognizable and talk a little bit about the ones that aren't. And we're going to do this in totem pole order, starting from the bottom and working our way to the top. But before we get into that, I also had people mention Korg from the Worldbound, who's not placed on the totem pole, but I do believe there's a good chance that this is him. Because you know it's quite often times that Hollywood will cast an actor of a different race to play a part. And quite frankly, I think it's about damn time some of these blue actors get more roles too, so we're gonna roll with it. Alright, so starting with the first head at the bottom, this one's a pretty tough one because we don't really get a clear look at it. So I'm gonna take a couple guesses at who it might be based on its shape and its location being at the bottom of the totem pole. And with that said, my first guess is gonna be Meek. Well, not that Meek. M-I-E-K, Meek. Yeah, that one. There we go. So for those of you that are familiar with the Planet Hulk story, y'all know Meek was catching L's left and right. He would kind of just dip out of the way of trouble and let the big guys handle all the work. And if this is him on the totem pole, the only reason he would be up there that I can imagine is just from surviving so many battles and not being killed. But the character did also have a metamorphosis where he evolved into a much larger, heavily armored version of his species. But in the arena, because he's one of the smaller guys, Hulk really watched his back. But when Hulk found out that Meek caused the death of his love Kyra and his unborn children, he smashed them into peanut butter and that was it. Well, the kids survived, but Hulk ain't know that at the time. But when the Hulk had found out that Meek killed Kyra, he nearly broke the planet. He stomped his foot just one time, and that made a crack that ripped through Connecticut and went all the way to upstate New York. Because the madder Hulk gets, the stronger he gets, and that has no cap. And that's my guess for that character. Let me know in the comments below who you guys think it might be. I've seen a little speculation about it being Brood, the no-name character, but I doubt that because the Brood species has a more triangular face shape, so I'm gonna just rule that one out. But moving up the totem pole to our next character, that's gonna be Bi-Beast. So now, Bi-Beast is a character that originates from the first volume of Incredible Hulk comics, number 169. And he's a two-headed android where the top half has knowledge of warfare and the bottom half has knowledge of like culture. And Bi-Beast was created by an ancient race called the Avian people, and the Avian people were also a subspecies of the Inhumans. So it wouldn't be like a total shock if we got a plug on the Inhumans TV show that tied back to Bi-Beast, even though they're not connecting them directly. But that's definitely Bi-Beast right there because he has one of those unmistakable faces that you have in the Marvel Universe. And I hope they show him like an actual good shot of him too, just so we can get one of those classic Volume 1 Hulk monsters on the screen too. I know the old school comic fans will appreciate that a lot. Alright, so the next one going up is one of those questionable figures again because we really can't see the face that well. And it would help if we had a better look at the helmet to kind of narrow down who it is. And I know there's a bunch of you guys out there in the comments hoping and wishing like me that it's Silver Surfer. And I'm not going to gas anybody or start any rumors that it is. But I do remember once upon a time with a ton of media outlets said we would never get Spider-Man in the MCU because Sony owns the rights. And Sony still does own the rights. But they're also smart enough to know that splitting a check with another studio is a much better way to go. Because now all of a sudden your character is sitting on the shoulder of 15 plus other movies that came before it. And it would be nice if Fox followed Sony's example. But yeah, let me know you guys' thoughts on this one because I haven't quite figured it out. The view on the face really doesn't show us much. Now I doubt if it's Hulk because his facial features are a bit more exaggerated. And at this point in the film, I doubt that it's Thor because he's more likely on this ship arriving to the tower. But yeah, drop your theories in the comments below and we see if we can figure it out before the film comes out. Alright, so your next gladiator moving up the totem pole is Beta Ray Bill. Now, Beta Ray Bill is the only one I really mentioned in the previous video, and that's mainly because mentioning the faces on the totem, Beta Ray has the most amount of Easter eggs or ties to the MCU so far. And as far as what they're doing with Ragnarok on screen, he's the most likely on the totem to appear in the film. And I know, once again, people are going to bring up comments of James Gunn saying that Beta Ray Bill was not in Guardians. And that may very well be a fact, but that doesn't exclude Beta Ray from ever appearing in the MCU. But aside from that, I can't help but think of times in the past when we've been told specifically that someone's not a character, and then we end up finding out later on that that information was the total opposite. But when you think about it, what better way to throw everybody off? Because in the case of Star Trek Into Darkness, that misleading information was enough to hold everybody off until they wanted to actually reveal who the character was. But aside from that, the main reason why it makes sense for Beta Ray Bill to appear in Ragnarok specifically is because he originates from a people called the Corbinites. And Beta Ray's homeworld Corbin existed in the Burning Galaxy, which was destroyed by Fire Lord Surtur, who is definitely going to be in Thor Ragnarok. And when you think about it, what would be better than seeing Hulk versus Surtur in Ragnarok? Besides Hulk and Beta Ray Bill versus Surtur. Well, yeah, that'll probably be Hulk, Beta Ray, and Odin versus Surtur, but okay. You guys get the picture. But Firelord Surtur destroyed the Corbinites' home, committing genocide on his race. And to me, that's one of the reasons why I'm most excited about the possibility of getting Beta Ray Bill in this movie. Because in my opinion, when a fight has a story behind it, it just gets the audience way more invested. And so now the Corbinites aren't completely killed off, or at least they shouldn't be, because after Surtur killed most of them off, the few that were left chose a champion amongst them, built him a cybernetic body, and that's how we got Beta Ray Bill. And that's why he looked all crazy in the face too. But he was able to fight out legions of demons by Firelord Surtur and protect what was left of his people. But on his way to finding his people a new home, they approached the Milky Way, and that's where they got picked up by S.H.I.E.L.D. So Nick Fury called for Thor to go check it out, and while fighting Beta Ray, Thor dropped Mjolnir, Beta Ray picked it up, and he was deemed worthy. But it wasn't until after a battle between Beta Ray and Thor that Odin had set up, which was really more like a test, but it was after that battle that Beta Ray got his own hammer, Stormbreaker. So then Odin took care of the rest of his people by bringing them to Asgard, which gave Beta Ray a reason to stick around, aside from him getting closer to Lady Sif as well. So now, if all of that ain't got Ragnarok, the movie version, written all over it, man, I don't know what does. And we can dive more into that if you guys want, because it's a series called Journey into Mystery. And I want to say it's like 4 volumes of it, but that's where you can find a lot of these stories at. Because also within it, they got runs like Everything Burns, if that's what you're into. Or if you just want to go over some good old Asgardian history, Journey into Mystery is definitely where it's at. Alright, but continuing on and moving up the totem, our next gladiator appears to be Aerys. And I want to just interject this thought right here, and that's the idea of the order that we see these guys on the totem. And I'm willing to say that that's just set on number of wins overall in the arena, because over whatever the period of time may have been, there's been a number of different champions, and this totem is set like their Hall of Fame, so to speak, versus just saying each one of these guys literally fought one another. But yeah, back to Aerys. Now I'm not going to spend too much time on him because everybody pretty much knows who he is, God of War. But being that he is God of War, there are a couple things that set him apart on the battlefield from pretty much everybody. So like physically, he's not one of the strongest. Like he's not on Hulk's level, but it's said that he can lift up to 70 tons. His durability and his healing factor are crazy too, but even his durability and his healing factor have their limits. Sentry proved that during Siege. Man, and I'm telling you, if the Sentry were to show up in the MCU, like I won't even get into all that right now, but I'll put a link up for the video I did showing how Marvel could just go back and include him in all the previous movies. But yeah, he mad powerful, and that wasn't a good matchup for Aerys. So yeah, Aerys' strong suit is really advanced strategy in every point of warfare. And I feel like there's a good chance that this is him on the totem. But last and certainly not least, at the top we got ManThing. And he's real similar to Swamp Thing from DC. Both of them came out in 1971, but ManThing appeared in Marvel Comics in May. Then a couple months later, DC premiered Swamp Thing. So now with ManThing, it really does make a lot of sense for him to be up top, because in most matchups that he would have in the arena, he wouldn't even have to fight. Because as soon as you try to throw a punch or a kick at him, he's just gonna grab you and absorb you. And on his body, you will see like the bones and the remains of people he's consumed already. And looking at that will probably have you terrified, which will make it even worse for you. Because whoever knows fear, whether you're afraid of him or you're afraid of anything at all, you'll be burned by his touch. And Hulk ended up getting burned by ManThing back in Incredible Hulk issue number 428 because he was dealing with the fear of becoming just a mindless brute. Because like I said, if you got any kind of fear inside of you, when the ManThing touches you, it's gonna burn so bad. So bad. But luckily for the Hulk, he's the Hulk, so the hair grew right back, he ain't to worry about it. But I'm going to end it right there for this one, guys. Be sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel. And hit me up in the comments, too. Let me know who you think the other gladiators are on the totem. Also, I'm curious to know what you guys think about the order, too. Would you switch any around? Or will you just keep it where it's at? Let me know in the comments below. Smash that like button, and we'll do it again next time. Alright, later.